Hello, and welcome to the Great Methodology Paradox, Software Development. Really? My name is Mike Roslog, and it is year 2011. I want to first go over with a couple of constructs and views about this presentation. All my comments that I'm going to be talking about are my own. I have either led or been on a project with these approaches. I have been part of the executive management, product management, sales, chief architect, lead programmer, and language trainer. I have had success and failure in most of them. Agile, lean, does not equal success in projects. The success numbers with the chaos report and others just don't show a significant improvement using Agile or the lean methodologies to deliver projects. Now, this does not mean that Agile doesn't work or Lean doesn't work. It just states the current numbers don't support that it's a silver bullet or that people are actually delivering better software. So, by now, thinking that I'm saying that Agile is not the key and not the silver bullet, your head's probably exploding at this particular moment in time, because since 2001, that's all the software development community has been hearing, is that Agile is the key. And so let's get into it a little bit more of why. But before we get into that, what aren't you going to get in this presentation? Well, a single solution or a single answer that is universal. Then you might be asking, well, what am I listening to you for? Well, a different perception on the best way to develop software. Well, a lot of people say, well, haven't I heard that before? This seems like I've heard this before. And the true answer to that is yes, you have. Over and over and over and over and over and over. I mean, you get the point, right? We've heard this over and over again. But now, you're trying to get some information, right? My boss, my team, we need a real solution to develop software and develop it consistently. Then I'm going to pose a point that then don't believe in any methodologies, don't believe in any languages, don't believe in any paradigms or tools, right? And actually, most of us have already abandoned most tools anyways, because you know what? We're too smart and we just like to write it by hand anyway. So it's not really that big of a deal. But let's talk about the underlying problem or the underlying theory. Software should be the same as building a house, a bridge, or an automobile. Now, anybody listening to this presentation by now has probably heard this analogy given more than once, given more than twice. They hear it all the time. But how many that is listening to my voice right now have built a house? Right? How many of you have built a bridge? So when we start thinking about this, is it the same analogy for software development? Well, the fact is, and this is just the historical fact for you, is that the bridge question is what started the chaos report in the first place. There were some guys sitting around and they were asking, why can't software be developed like a bridge? And then they started to go out and try to figure that out. So that's how the chaos report actually got created. But software development is not like building a house or a bridge or an automobile, for that fact. But why? Why isn't it? Well, continuing on with this theory, imagine you're signing off on a brand new house, right? And these are the plans, and we're signing off on them with the architect and the developer and the builder and everything like that. So, day one, we have, by design, our living room is a 20 by 20 room. Okay? Day two, our living room has changed to 20 by 17 because we wanted to expand the master bedroom a little bit, add a little more closet space. Well, day three, the living room is now 17 by 15, no longer really a great room, because we wanted to expand the kitchen a little bit more and give a little bit more room for shelves. And then 2 months later, the second floor is done. And now we want the living room to be back to 20 by 20 because we really wanted a great room, right? That's what my wife wanted. So what is going to happen in the real world today if you were building a house and these changes happen to your plan of building this house. Why is software development different? Let's think about it. Number one, in the home building situation, the homeowner would be charged for every change in the plan. There would never be a question once the plans were signed off. If you change the plan, you're going to pay for that. The home would be delivered most likely later than scheduled of the completion date, right? Which was already variable anyways when you're home building. If you've ever built a house, you know that really the only time you're sure you're going to be in the house is the day you move in. So it's very difficult for them to say that, you're going to be in your house by May 3rd when we're starting on February 7th, because there's so many variables that may change. So when requirements change, why don't they expect, the software delivery? If we were building a house and using software delivery, why when requirements change don't we expect the same? Why don't we expect something to move, the dates move, requirements to move? Others, I'm sure, think of other great questions of why it's not like building a house, if you think about it. Really, when after you're all said and done, because building software is not like building X, whether that's a house, a bridge, car, whatever it is. However, as far as I can tell, software is really one of the only professions that I know of that have the expectation of the builder to automatically be able to magically change everything about the design and the delivery and everything without changing the price, changing the delivery date, or changing functionality. It's just a given. So let's look at some of the chaos numbers. You might be asking yourself, Mike, where are you getting these things from? We've been doing Agile and it's been working awesome for us. Well, if you look, in 2001 was when the Agile Manifesto was actually written. And over the years, we have been implementing Agile in tons of teams, and they have been delivering it, and Chaos Report's been doing stuff. And if you can go to 2010, 2011 numbers, this is through 2009, but they don't really change that much, right? I mean, we still have 32%, anywhere from 30 to 35% success rate, and we still have a failure rate of about 70%. So if you look at successful, challenged, and failed projects by the chaos theory, the chaos methodology, you basically get about a 28.3 average, or 29.33 thrown out the lowest and highest. Same with challenge, 46.88, 48.7, 0.17, and the average also on the other one, which is 24.75, and Olympic 23.83. So the funny part about this is that 30% are successful, 50% are very challenged, and 25% fail. So there is really some numbers out there that show that going towards these methodologies really hasn't helped in this process. So let's take a quick step back though, and I want to just kind of bring this into focus, right? Since 1994, how many languages have been introduced? Okay, so if we think about that for a second, we can go out here and we can see that there are maybe one or two little languages that have been actually out there. And as you can see, as this is writing up there, some of these are commercial, some of these are research, but the idea is still the same. There's been 56 languages in 17 years. Let's cut that in half. Let's say you say, Mike, half of those languages don't count. Fine. You still got 28 languages still out there doing stuff, right? You still have that process of that going on. And since 1994, how many methodologies have been introduced? And I'm sure there's more than what I've actually found, but trying to go to and find some numbers and do some things, I'm trying to find the ones that have been kind of talked about, at least publicly, and written about inside of different magazines and different articles and stuff like that. And you come to the point that you're seeing around 39 different methodologies, because there was 4 methodologies before 1994, like waterfall and things like that. So, but you're looking at around 39 methodologies out there since 1994. Then let's go back a little bit further. How many frameworks have been introduced since 1994? And this is a very limited list, right? I mean, the SDKs, you got your .NET SDKs, you got your MFC, you got your COM, DCOM, ActiveX, Corba, and I can go on and on and on and on. But then let's also think about all the libraries that have been introduced since 1994, and let's only pick on Java, which wasn't even invented in 1994, but let's pick on Java. There are so many of these frameworks out there. Now, again, all of this stuff, whether it's languages, whether it's methodologies, whether it's frameworks, or whether it's libraries, are all built to save time and to help us deliver projects on time with no surprises, right? Really? This is a lot of work that people's worked on over the years, and some of these things really, really do help. Some of the things don't really help. Some of the things have been kind of dead ends. So let's wait a minute here a second, because I think I'm getting ahead of myself maybe. All these languages, methodology, frameworks were going to help projects be successful. At least that's why they were developed in the first place. But if we look at the numbers, that doesn't prove out, right? We've adopted different languages, our numbers stay the same. We've adopted different methodologies, our numbers stay the same. We've adopted different libraries and different frameworks, numbers stay the same. So, in essence, we have the same success, failure, and challenge rate over the same period of time, no matter what we've changed. And again, that's no matter the language, the methodology, or framework being used. And as always, again, most developers have become tool averse for some unknown reason, so tools don't even matter in this equation.